And welcome back to Hannity Colmes. Critics are taking the WWE to task over Chris Benoit's tragedy. Some say steroid abuse is rampant at the organization, and everyone just turns a blind eye to this. Joining us now with an inside look at what really goes on behind the scenes at the WWE Wrestling, we have legend Warrior with us. Hey, Warrior, how are you?
I'm doing super, Sean. How you doing?
We're good. All right. Well,
I was beginning to think that you were intimidated by my pure form of conservatism. That's why you were keeping me off the program.
Steel cage match. I'll take you on any place, anytime, anywhere.
For the troops.
For the troops.
For the troops.
How long do I have to last to survive and get the money? Exactly.
To the end, till I get finished.
All right. Well, let me. In all seriousness here, I've talked to a lot of people now in the last number of days about wrestling. And apparently, most people behind the scenes are telling me it's a little-known secret. Steroid use is fairly rampant. You willing to admit that? Well,
I mean, Benoit's a physician just got indicted on charges for...
I didn't ask you that. Do you know of widespread steroid use in wrestling?
Oh, steroids are used throughout the industry all the way through. I mean, it's easier to say or point out the number of guys that aren't doing steroids than those that are. I mean, I don't have a stupid button on me that I can push to get stupid, and I can't I can't not see what my eyes
all right, next
show
question.
me when you look at the talent in it.
Did you ever use steroids, and is there such a thing as roid rage?
I did use steroids, but I've been open about it from the very beginning. I don't have to go back in time and cover something up or a lie that I told before. I've been open and I've been candid about it, but there's a difference between use and abuse. And different than the other crybaby former talent from professional wrestling or other professional sports, I don't have any whining and complaining to do. I'm not broken down. I have a healthy...
If you're saying there's a difference between use and abuse, I would argue that any use is abuse if you don't need it for medical reasons.
Well, look, I think that there are sacrifices that professional athletes at that level will choose to make to succeed at the business that they participate in. And I don't think that people, when you talk about roid rage for me is a pie-in-the-sky theory that's thought up by people that have no business discussing the frame of mind of an elite physical athlete. But that's not the point.
Look, I understand your desire to be number one in your field.
No, the point is you're trying to say overall that taking steroids is bad, and I don't think it is.
You don't think it is?
Taking steroids, no, I don't.
Okay, but what about
I'm all for personal freedom. I'm all for, look, this is your program. You get to talk all the time, so give me a chance.
I'm giving you a chance.
I'm all for personal freedom. I'm not on a crusade to abolish steroids in professional wrestling or other professional sports. What I'm tired of is I'm tired of having my intelligence insulted, and I'm tired of having the integrity of positive mentoring assaulted all the time.
But maybe you took it in a limited quantity. Maybe you did it with a doctor's supervision. Maybe
I just told you that the difference between use and abuse.
Hang on a second.
What part of that didn't you get?
Well, what part of I think any use is abuse didn't you get? But the point here is I'm asking.
I don't think
wait, let me get the question out.
You have no authority whatsoever to even discuss whether or not a professional athlete should take steroids.
This guy killed himself, his wife, and his children, and we're looking for answers. And one of the questions that is being raised is steroid
I'm not here
use.
to make excuses for this monster.
But
you're attacking me like I'm here to make excuses for this guy.
I think what we want to know is, Warrior Talent, what I want to know is, thanks for talking to a liberal, by the way. What we want to know is, how widespread is this use in the WWE? And should the WWE be involved in doing something about this being part of the culture?
The drug test is a ruse. It's an artifice designed specifically for these sensationalized, high-profile tragedies when people come forward and they make reasonable allegations that the talent is using drugs. It's just simple for me. For me to believe that the drug tests on the live bodies are legit, I got to believe that all the autopsies on the dead bodies are lies. And it doesn't work for me.
But you've had a number of people die. 60 wrestlers under 45 have died in the last 10 years. Isn't that an unusual statistic? And can you honestly say that drugs have nothing to do with this?
Look, those other guys that worked in the industry, it gets back to the difference between there being use and abuse. Those guys were rotten on the inside. I would use this illustration. Look at guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Zane, Dave Draper, all the classic bodybuilders. Those guys took steroids and they're still alive.
Did you know Benoit at all?
Bodybuilding, no, they approach bodybuilding from a holistic perspective.
How well do you know Benoit?
And that's been my approach. Wrestlers take the steroids so they can look healthy on the outside, but they do everything else that makes them rotten on the inside.
Did you know
and
Benoit?
The autopsies that reveal that they have enlarged hearts and other organs that have been affected by the steroids. That's the reason why, because they don't live healthy lives overall. And if you're going to attribute his snapping and breaking like he did and losing self-control like he did, I would attribute it more to the prescription drugs that he can regularly get from any marked doctor who will sit and go through a whole prescription pattern. Right?
Did you know him?
Sure.
What kind of a guy was he?
Chris Benoit, yes, I knew him.
Are you surprised by what happened?
I think we're always surprised when talent goes this far, or people go this far and they commit these kind of heinous crimes. But I'm a little ashamed that people want to spend so much time talking about roid rage or parsing the language, parsing the concepts to try to find a reason to have greater sympathy or have a bigger heart for the monstrous acts that this guy committed. There's no excuse for this guy, whether it was the other pharmaceutical drugs, whether it was because of steroids, whether it was because of the difficulties in raising a child with disabilities, the stress and the strife with his wife that they had about that. There's no excuse for any man, and I use man specifically here, there's no excuse for any man to turn his back on the protective responsibilities his wife and his son.
No one's suggesting that, but you can't ignore all the factors that might have gone into this and act as if a steroid issue isn't there when it's been there with a number of people in your profession.
How many professional athletes do we have? How many professional athletes do we have that retire and they come out and they do a book and they talk about 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 athletes take steroids? How many polls and surveys are done at high schools and colleges about all the number of kids that are taking steroids? How many other people take prescription drugs? How many other people snap like this?
It's not an excuse, but is this a case where he was out of his mind because of excessive use that resulted in the murder of people? These are legitimate questions anybody would want to know the answer to here.
And I'm giving you legitimate answers. No, I do not think so.
All right, there's your answer.
Mark Furman was on the program. Mark Furman was on the program.
I'm kidding.
God.
That was a joke.
Not on your best day.
Not on my best day, you're right. Anyway, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Lindsay Lohan, she's still in rehab. Will it